The morning rain drums against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the 42nd floor, casting dancing shadows across the mahogany desk where James Mitchell reviews quarterly reports. His designer suit hangs perfectly on his lean frame, but his eyes carry the weight of endless board meetings and billion-dollar decisions. At 38, he's built Mitchell Technologies from a garage startup into a Fortune 500 empire, but success came at a price. His corner office overlooks downtown Chicago, where people hurry along the sidewalks like ants, each carrying their own struggles he's forgotten how to understand. The coffee grows cold in his hand as he stares at another acquisition proposal, the numbers blurring together like everything else in his carefully controlled world. His assistant's voice crackles through the intercom about his packed schedule, but James barely hears her. Somewhere in the distance, a child's laughter echoes from the daycare center on the building's ground floor, a sound that feels foreign in his glass tower of isolation. The elevator dings softly as James heads to the parking garage, his mind already on the evening's conference call with Tokyo investors. But as the doors slide open on the ground floor, a small figure barrels straight into his legs with surprising force. He looks down to find a little girl with wild curly hair and grass-stained overalls, her brown eyes wide with surprise and something that looks like determination. She can't be more than 6 years old, clutching a crumpled piece of paper in her tiny fist. "Mister, are you really important?" she asks, tilting her head up to study his face with the unfiltered curiosity only children possess. James glances around the lobby, expecting to see frantic parents or daycare workers rushing to collect this wayward child. Instead, he finds himself oddly charmed by her directness. "Well, I suppose some people think so. I'm James. What's your name?" "I'm Emma Rodriguez, and I'm 6 3/4 years old," she announces with the gravity of someone sharing state secrets. "My teacher says you're the boss of this whole building, and that you're super rich and important and stuff. Your teacher told you about me?" James kneels down to her level, genuinely curious now. Something about this little girl's earnest expression makes him forget about Tokyo entirely. Emma nods vigorously, her curls bouncing. "Uh-huh. She says you help lots of people and make important decisions every day. That's why I waited here after daycare. I have a very important question to ask you." Before James can respond, Emma thrusts the crumpled paper toward him. As he unfolds it, he discovers a crayon drawing of 2 stick figures. One tall in a black suit, one small with curly hair, standing under a rainbow. At the bottom, in shaky kindergarten handwriting, it reads, "Will you be my daddy for 1 hour?" The question hits James like a physical blow. He stares at the drawing, then back at Emma's hopeful face. "Sweetie, I don't understand. Where are your parents?" Emma's shoulders slump slightly, but her voice remains steady. "Mama works 3 jobs to pay for our apartment and my daycare. She leaves really early and comes home really late, and she's always tired. I know she loves me lots and lots, but she never has time to play or read stories or teach me how to ride a bike like other daddies do." Her eyes brighten again with renewed hope. "But you're super important, so maybe you know how to do daddy things? Just for 1 hour? I won't ask for anything else, I promise." James feels his carefully constructed world shift on its axis. This child's simple request exposes a loneliness he's spent years burying under quarterly earnings and market projections. "Emma, where's your mom right now?" "She's at her night job at the diner on 5th Street. Ms. Patricia from daycare lets me stay late sometimes when Mama can't pick me up." Emma's matter-of-fact tone breaks James's heart. "But Ms. Patricia had to leave for her own family, so I thought maybe you could help. You look like you'd be a good daddy." Something inside James's chest cracks open. He glances at his Rolex. 6:30 p.m. His evening is booked solid with calls and reports. But looking into Emma's trusting eyes, none of that seems to matter anymore. "Okay, Emma, 1 hour. But first we need to call your mom and make sure she knows you're safe." Emma's face lights up like Christmas morning. "Really? You'll really be my daddy for 1 whole hour?" "Really," James says, surprising himself with how much he means it. After reaching Emma's mother, Sophia, and explaining the unusual situation, which takes considerable convincing, James finds himself in uncharted territory. Emma leads him to the building's small indoor garden, a space he's walked past countless times but never actually noticed. She shows him her favorite hiding spot behind the butterfly bushes and explains the elaborate stories she's created about each plant. "This one's named Gerald," she says seriously, patting a small fern. "He's shy but really smart. And this is Princess Buttercup. She's the queen of all the flowers." James sits cross-legged on the floor, his expensive suit forgotten, listening intently as Emma shares her imaginary world. When was the last time he'd used his imagination for anything beyond profit margins? When had he stopped seeing magic in ordinary things? "What do daddies usually do with their kids?" he asks, genuinely curious. Emma considers this with the seriousness of a philosopher. "Well, my friend Madison says her daddy helps with homework and makes funny voices when he reads stories. And Tommy's dad taught him how to throw a baseball real far. Oh, and Sarah's daddy takes her for ice cream and listens to all her problems without checking his phone." The last observation stings. James realizes he hasn't had a conversation without glancing at his phone in years. He deliberately places it face down on the bench beside him. "Tell me about school, Emma. What's your favorite subject?" For the next 20 minutes, Emma regales him with stories about kindergarten drama, her struggles with math, her love of art class, and her dream of becoming a veterinarian who specializes in helping sad animals feel better. James finds himself completely absorbed in her worldview, where problems have simple solutions, and kindness is the default response to everything. "Can I tell you a secret?" Emma whispers, scooting closer to him. "Of course. Sometimes I pretend my real daddy is just away on a really important business trip, and someday he'll come home and teach me how to ride a bike and braid my hair properly." Her voice grows smaller. "But Mama says some daddies just aren't ready to be daddies, and that's not our fault." James feels tears prick his eyes. "Your Mama sounds very wise, and very strong." She is, but I think she gets lonely too, even though she tries to hide it. She cries sometimes when she thinks I'm sleeping, but I hear her. Emma looks up at him with ancient wisdom in her young eyes. "Do you ever get lonely, Mr. James?" The question stops him cold. When had a 6-year-old become his therapist? "Yes, Emma. I think I do." As their hour together nears its end, Emma grows quiet, absently braiding blades of grass with the focus of someone trying to make time stand still. James watches her small hands work, knowing that in a few minutes, he'll return to his world of spreadsheets and conference calls, and she'll go back to waiting for a mother who works herself to exhaustion just to keep them afloat. "Emma," he says softly, "what if being your daddy for 1 hour wasn't enough?" She looks up sharply, hope and fear warring in her expression. "What do you mean?" James takes a deep breath, knowing that whatever he says next will change both their lives forever. "What if I wanted to be your friend? Not just for 1 hour, but for lots of hours. What if I wanted to help your mama so she didn't have to work so hard and teach you how to ride that bike and maybe learn a few things from you too?" Emma's eyes grow wide. "You mean it? You'd really want to be my friend? Even though I'm just a kid and you're super important?" "Emma, meeting you today reminded me of something I'd forgotten. Being important doesn't mean anything if you don't have people to share it with. You've taught me more in 1 hour than I've learned in years of business meetings." Tears spill down Emma's cheeks, but she's smiling. "Does this mean I can show you how to talk to Gerald the Fern? And maybe you can read me a story with funny voices?" "I would love that," James says, and means it more than any business deal he's ever closed. 2 weeks later, James sits in the same diner where Sophia works her night shift, but this time the conversation is different. Emma colors quietly in the booth beside him while he explains his proposal to her mother. He's offering Sophia a position as his personal assistant. a job that pays 3 times what. She makes it all her current jobs combined, with benefits, regular hours, and an on-site daycare where Emma can stay after school. I don't understand, Sophia says, her tired eyes suspicious. Why would you do this for us? What do you want in return? James looks at Emma, who's now showing him her latest masterpiece, a drawing of the 3 of them having a picnic. Your daughter asked me to be her daddy for 1 hour, and in that hour, she reminded me what really matters. I built a billion-dollar company, but I forgot how to build relationships. I want to be better, and she's teaching me how. Sophia's expression softens as she watches her daughter lean trustingly against James's arm. Emma talks about you constantly. Mr. James this, Mr. James that. She's never attached to anyone this quickly. The feeling is mutual, James admits. I know this arrangement might seem unconventional, but I'm not trying to replace you or take over. I just want to be part of Emma's life, and if that helps your family, then everyone wins. Over the following months, their unconventional family dynamic settles into a comfortable rhythm. Sophia thrives in her new role, her natural intelligence and attention to detail making her invaluable to James's business operations. Emma flourishes with the stability and attention she's always craved, finally learning to ride that bike with James cheering her on from the sidewalk. 1 year later, James stands in the same lobby where Emma first crashed into his life, but everything has changed. The cold, sterile space now features comfortable seating areas and a children's corner with books and games. Sophia approaches with a stack of reports, her confident stride a far cry from the exhausted woman he first met. The quarterly projections look excellent, she says, then smiles. And Emma wants to know if you're still coming to her school play tonight. Wouldn't miss it, James replies. She's been practicing her lines for weeks. Through the lobby windows, he can see Emma in the garden, carefully tending to Gerald the fern while explaining photosynthesis to a group of impressed daycare friends. She's appointed herself the official building naturalist, and her enthusiasm is infectious. That evening, as James watches Emma take her bow on the elementary school stage, he marvels at how one little girl's courage to ask for what she needed changed everything. She taught him that true success isn't measured in stock prices or profit margins, but in the relationships we build and the love we share. The business world still demands his attention, but now he has something worth working for beyond his own ambition. Emma's drawing still hangs framed in his office, 2 stick figures under a rainbow, a reminder that sometimes the most important question isn't, how can I make more money, but, how can I make someone else's life better? As Sophia joins them for ice cream after the play, Emma reaches for both their hands, creating an unbreakable chain of love and commitment. This wasn't the family any of them had planned, but it's exactly the family they all needed. The little girl who asked for 1 hour of fatherhood gave James something far more valuable. She gave him a heart capable of loving and being loved in return. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to remember that families come in all shapes and sizes. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories about love, hope, and second chances. What would you do if a child asked you to be their parent for just 1 hour? Let me know in the comments below.